I lost my.
And here we go.
And here
What's
we go.
next?
No, I fucking had something, bro.
Get your shit together, dude.
No.
Welcome to the 6th episode of the Cassette Ends Creation. I'm your host, Chris Deering, and this is the show where I interview bands and public figures from the mathcore community. If you beautiful people in chat have any questions or comments, I'll try my best to read them aloud. If you're watching this on YouTube, listening to this in your car, and have no idea what I'm talking about, this show is first recorded live on Twitch. Feel free to join us every Sunday at twitch.tv/the Cassette Ends Creation for the live cast. With all that out of the way, let me introduce our guest tonight, who's dropping their debut album, Memory Palace, through Dark Trail Records, October 23rd. Welcome in The God Awful Truth. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
Doing well.
Fantastic.
Awesome. Tell us who you are and what you do in the band.
Oh, me? I'm Dalton. I play the drums.
Jordan, I do the vocals.
Ben, guitar with an octave bass signal.
Oh, so y'all don't have a bassist?
No, just three of us.
No.
Oh, shit. Alrighty.
We can talk about that later if you'd like.
Well, why not talk about it now? Why don't you guys have a bassist?
Fuck yeah, let's talk about it. Okay, so just finding somebody that meshed well with us has been a problem for years and years. So we all have like a very strong chemistry. Dalton and I have known each other our entire lives. Like our parents were friends before we were ever born. And then I met Jordan back in 6th grade in 2002. And we started playing music all together in 2005 in a band in high school. And so we just kind of have like this connection. So we've tried out some bass players. It's either like somebody is good enough and they're a total douchebag, or somebody's a really cool guy and they're just not good at the bass. Doesn't mean by any means we don't want a bass player, but we tried the whole. So I do an A/B signal, A through the guitar, B through the bass. I run it through the OC3 Boss octave pedal, and then through a bass Sans amp driver, and then I run that into my 115 through a PV Mark 6, and it's obviously not the same as far as the definition goes, but it adds a lot of low end. And even from like really good bass player friends that are very good bassists, they say that it holds its own. So we're happy enough for now. Eventually we'd love to get a bass player though.
I had a one-man project actually before this, and I did the similar thing, split up the signal, and had part of it going through a bass amp and using octave pedal and everything too. So I know a little bit about that too. Yeah,
it's cool and it works. It's just a lot of footwork, between doing all like the I use a pitchfork, the Electro Harmonics pitchfork. For a lot of the weird sounds. You got a chance to hear the album, so you heard those.
Oh, yeah.
So between jumping back and forth from that to turning on the bass, on and off the bass signal, it can be a lot of footwork, but I mean, it's at this present moment, it's kind of a cool niche that we have, so yeah.
Alrighty. You guys have a diverse sound. I would say to hear a lot of the Dillinger Escape Plan, a lot of the Daughters, like the Drunk Elvis vocals and stuff going on. So you've got a lot of changes from like almost danceable parts to more rigid stopping and starting, and always tons of panic chords. What bands would you say influenced you guys the most?
Dude, fucking Dillinger without a doubt. Love Dillinger.
Chariot.
Love. The Chariot as well, yeah. We've got a love for Converge as well. I don't know how much influence is like, as far as like, in a broad sense goes, but I mean, they're a huge influence on us musically as well. Under Oath as well, yeah.
I loved Darren Gillespie growing up, but in terms of actual comparisons of music, we're not really like Under Oath, but it's a lot of different things. Danza.
Every Time I Die.
Cult Leader, Daughters.
Yeah, I mean, we just love music,
Fear Before
the March of Flames.
We actually got our name from.
Yeah. Our name is totally derivative of one of their songs.
Alrighty. So let's talk about the writing process. Is there someone directing it generally, or are you guys just bringing in different parts and seeing what works, or how does that happen?
This fool's the foundation. Dalton is the foundation, for sure. Don't get me wrong. There's times whenever, he's kind of at a little bit of a blank and I'm just like, hey, maybe we should try something, let's go to like, something a little more punkish here, or let's do a breakdown here, whatever. But generally speaking, Dalton's like, okay, so I've got this idea, this idea, this idea. I'm like, okay, we'll play it on the drums for me. He plays it. Say, okay, what do you think guitar-wise should be being played there? And he kind of gives me a little bit of an idea.
A lot
and
of
then
goofy noises from
a lot of
that bounce,
Yes. But then he kind of lets me run with it. And sometimes he's like, that's not at all what I had in mind, but it still sounds good. And then there's other times he's like, that's nowhere near what I wanted. Let's try it again. So
you sound like an asshole.
Well, no, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but he's definitely the foundation of the house for sure.
Well, and this last one was weird too because he lives in Wichita Falls still. That's where we're all from. But me and him live in Denton.
So it's like an hour and a half between us.
Yeah, this is the first time, and it was honestly really cool in the studio because me and him have been playing this music for a long time, and then we got in the studio and we got to hear the vocals put on top of it, which kind of made it fresh and not as tiresome to play for like the 100th time.
Yes. So like for the writing process, Dalton and I, Dalton's far side, we got together, we would write, and then I just used like a little Zoom 8-track recorder, and I'd record 2 microphones on the drums, and then I'd record my guitar and bass tracks, and then I would send it to Jordan, and Jordan would just write lyrics to it because he lived an hour and a half away. He didn't have means of transportation super often, and so we and also his job and stuff. And so, it was mainly me and Dalton writing songs, sending them to Jordan. There's a few different times where Jordan would have some opinions, but we've been planning to get music together for so long. Like I said, since 2005, we all kind of have like and this isn't the god awful truth since 2005, but we all kind of have a chemistry. So most of what we wrote, Jordan was like, hell yeah, I know what to throw on top of that. And so he would do it.
Yeah, we've been together that we kind of have the same goals, and we kind of like we already got in so many fights about what we don't like and what we do like that we know how to avoid that kind of too. So
yeah,
that helps.
High school fights, not so much this band.
But yeah, I mean, like for the most part, they'd send me something. I might have like one suggestion, and they'd be like, "Oh, well, we already fixed that anyway."
There's really only one song I was worried about, and that was "Knockout Ned," because it's a little more
rock and roll.
Yeah, a little more rock and roll than what we typically do. Typically, we just keep things heavy and try to keep it
dissonant and dirty, and
diverse, gross. And this one is a little more My Sharona-esque,
Dude, it's once we started writing the song, we're like, dude, what does that sound like? And we're like, shit, that sounds like My Sharona. My Corona. Yeah.
BPXO wants to know if you guys are drinking water.
Among other things, of course, brother. You gotta stay hydrated.
Live, yes.
Oh,
right
live
now,
right
no.
Oh, yeah. No, we only drink water purely all day, every day.
Absolutely straight edge.
Except for the podcast.
Yeah.
Well, no, except for the podcast.
When it comes to live,
Okay.
As I open the beer.
I typically pour water on me rather than drink it live.
Yeah. we like to bathe in water.
So what, dude?
What else would you bathe in?
shower.
Urine, blood, semen. I don't know.
Dude, what you and Abby do in your own time is your own time, brother.
Hey, man.
So, where'd you guys record this?
It was with a buddy of ours. His name's Timmy. I met him back when I was like 13 years old, and he was in a band and a couple actually different bands. Like the one of the first shows I ever went to, his band played, and slowly like had a connection with him and his band members, and like helped him with shows and stuff when we were in like high school and teenage and stuff like that. But like our last EP we recorded with him, maybe like a year before that, me and him like talked a lot about working together and stuff, but he was busy with like moving and changing his studio and stuff like that, and we were busy with work and a lot of different things. So it took us about a year to actually work together, and then once we did, we were just like kind of all in love with it, just like how much at home we feel and just like working together and his input and stuff like that. So we went back to him this time, and I mean, he mixed and mastered everything.
Something we really love about Timmy as well. We love the raw sound, and one of his big ideals is having the guitar tone, the drum tone, like, you know, all the musical instruments, having them sound as best as you can, almost 100% before you start the recording process. Instead of going back in and post and changing some of that stuff, having it as close to perfect as possible. Because in post, some of that stuff is, you know, it's noticeable. It's not even, maybe not noticeable. Maybe it's just, what's the word I'm looking for?
Out of place or something?
Yeah, a little out of place. And it's just not quite as raw as if, you know, you have that natural raw sound before you start the recording process. And that's just something we really loved about recording with him as well.
So y'all mic'd up amps and stuff, no direct in?
So we actually recorded both. So I recorded a left and a right guitar, left humbucker, right single coils. Each one we recorded mic'd amp as well as a direct signal, just in case he needed to reamp it. What do you want?
Nothing.
Okay. Just in case he wanted to reamp it. But the amp signals happened to be just fine, so we stuck with the amp.
Nice. How long did the whole process take?
So this motherfucker over here knocked out his fucking drums, the 10 original songs, because we have the interlude and we have the outro. So 10 songs. He knocked all 10 out in one day.
Damn.
4 hours or something.
Longer than that.
4 or
But
5.
it was,
Well, I mean, we had setup time, but
not with setup. Yeah, like 5 hours.
Yeah.
He's a fucking beast.
That's insane, dude.
That's why we love him.
And then the other 5 days were split up between me and Ben. So like there'd be like a day where he would get as much done as he could on like a couple songs, and then like the end of the day I'd spend like a song or two maybe. That way I don't like stress my voice out too much having to do takes multiple fucking times and shit like that. Because we played 30-minute sets, so recording for like 2 hours is kind of a lot in some senses.
We don't want him to blow his voice out. Yeah,
no, yeah, exactly.
Good, you know. So we just stretched that over like 5 days, where we'd go back and forth with guitar and bass and stuff like that, and just and it was kind of cool too, because we did it every like so many weekends set apart. So kind of having fresh ears with everything, if there was something that we were like, hey, we need to tweak this, but we didn't hear it last time, we had the fresh ears to be able to say like, hey, I heard this over the last 2 weeks, so we need to fix this somehow and stuff like that. So that it was really cool to be able to work on it like 2 days at a time. We did 3 different sessions.
Yeah, so 6 days altogether, three weekends. So yeah, we were actually pleasantly surprised with getting it done in 6 days and being very, confident in how it came out.
Timmy's cool. I like working with Timmy. He has a lot of input, but it's not like overbearing, like you have to do this or anything like that. He's very
suggestive.
Yeah, like he has a lot of the same ideas. Like he'll say something, I'm like, yes, whatever he just said, like hell yeah, I'm down for that.
Yeah, it'll almost be like, oh, I get what you're going for, so we should do it like this, and we're like, oh, okay, and then it makes sense, and it all like meshes well. He like gets like maybe we are doing something experimental slightly for us, but he's like, oh, if you're going to do it like that, then just do it this way. So then that's the best way to do it, and it sounds how we want it,
And even from a technical standpoint, he would, hey, you're trying to do this, and I know I'm being very vague, this and this part, whatever, but you're trying to, do a specific thing in this part, and you have so much low end, or you have too much high, frequencies going on. What we need to do is we need to alter, we need to mesh it a little bit better, so that way, nothing's stepping on each other's toes. You want to hear each piece individually, and if you have too much high frequencies or too much low frequencies, you're going to step on each other's toes. And so that was helpful as well.
Dude, that's awesome, man. It's good to have somebody that knows what they're talking about rather than just some
sure.
guy. Like,
Without a doubt.
No, yeah, he makes like pedals and fixes people's amps, and like he's like an engineer just as much as he is like someone that's gonna like actually record your music and be an engineer in that sense too. So like it's cool that he knows so many different levels of the craft that he can help us. Like, I mean, Ben actually had something mess up with one of his bass cabinets, and Timmy immediately, like when Ben explained, he was like, "Oh, just bring it to me, I'll fix it immediately." Like, and Ben had no idea how to fix it, was like lost. And he was like, "Oh,
Dude,
no, that's a quick fix."
It,
Like,
it made no sense to me. The fucking so in my 15, the PD 115, my speaker cable got jammed inside of it. It wouldn't come out, and I was like, well, what's going on here? And he took it apart. I mean, I took it apart myself first and couldn't figure it out. Dalton even kind of helped me give a look at it. And we're like, we don't know what to do. We're literally putting all of our force into pulling this cable out. And he was like, oh, dude. He's like, you had an amp head just go out on you, didn't you? And I was like, I did. And he was like, man, what happened is that it melted on the inside.
Oh shit! So
he was like, I just
you're
cut
just that heavy that you're starting to melt the metal inside.
I mean,
it's pretty metal, dude.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it sucks. But no, he fixed it super quick. So yeah, that's cool.
So let's talk about lyrics. Lyrics seem to be mainly dealing with loss and depression. What would you say is your main inspiration for your lyrics?
Oh, definitely. I feel like that makes sense. A lot of the lyrics for this album weren't personal. It was more just situational in the sense of like I'd listen to a song 100 times and be like, okay, what is this song going for? What is this song about? And with
putting yourself outside.
Yeah, because I've written songs that are like about my personal life and I'm so sad or this or that. And I get, that's cool to get things like that out of your, yourself and stuff. But at the same time, I want stuff that I can, I don't know, just kind of like make stories up. Like our first single that we put out, You've Got Ready, that literally has a siren in it. So I knew that I was either going to write about the apocalypse or I was going to write about Silent Hill. And I ended up being the apocalypse and like zombies and stuff. But there's also like songs that are more about holding on to the past and alcoholism and some stuff like that. Man, but even like the alcoholism song, I've never written 10 songs at one time for this band. It's always been like 2 songs at a time or something. So I told them, I was like, hey, like rhythmically, if you can come up with ideas or even just a line, that'd be cool. But eventually I gave him a song and him a song. Gave them subjects. They wrote maybe 60%, and then I filled in the gaps and tweaked maybe little things and stuff like that.
Sure.
But then there's another song he wrote himself, which I didn't even tell him to write it. I just kind of gave him an idea. I was like, if you can come up with something cool, but what if you just come up with a couple of rhythms in these parts that would be helpful?
Which one?
Jack.
Oh yeah,
But he ended up. I can always forget that you helped.
Yeah,
they ended up writing the lyrics anyways, so they wrote the whole song. And it works really good. It's a cool part.
It's the first song, first track, title track.
But then there's a few things in the studio we had to work on. But then me and him wrote Knockout Ned together. But just even the way we wrote it was just like we had the subject, which was kind of like about of wanderer, someone who's just kind of like lost in their life. Yeah, that's the word I was looking for. But we just kind of like literally we would come up with a rhythm and then just immediately we'd bounce some stuff off of each other and then like have it. And but it came out really cool. Like just like even when we finally like recorded it, that was the first time I technically had screamed it, was when we recorded it. So but just the way it came out and the way we like worked on it together was cool. But then they're like the other half of the songs I did. But yeah, I just tried to like I kind of pulled from some people I know instead of being personal, which I hope they don't get mad if they've realized that at some point. But but there's like one song we have. It's about some dude that's just creepy and lonely, and he stalks somebody and kidnaps them and keeps
That's
them.
the multiple MIGs, I think is this.
That's
fucking right. And
I was
going to
ask about that because it was like, okay.
No, it's like creepy.
Dude, it's hella creepy, dude.
But when we were growing up, there was bands that did stuff like that. There was this band, actually, Jesse Witt from Under the Pier, his band from Wichita Falls, who I would grow up watching. We did. Oh, he had songs about like killing chicks, but like it was like more like there's a metaphor. Fear Before the March of Flames did the same thing. This band In Theory, which is actually like a lot of the members from Sky's Airplane, their band before that. they had songs about killing girls or people dying and stuff like that.
It's
And
a
it was just like,
metaphor.
it's just like
It's a
Dude,
metaphor.
I'm not
well, it's
gonna
more
lie.
like, to me, it's more like we're in a movie, so it's like I want to make something that's more theatrical without it being like Pink Floyd and sounding like an opera or something weird like that.
Yeah, you're telling a story.
Yeah.
Yes,
yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, I heard Migs, dude, and I
Oh,
felt
no.
like asking Monica,
No,
like, you should listen to this because you need to know what's going on in this.
Yeah,
dude's
no,
head.
It's talking about my
we
girlfriend.
wanted,
It's a little odd.
we wanted to make sure his girlfriend was safe and was okay. You know,
we keep in touch
we
with her to
weren't
make
really
sure she's
sure.
all right.
She's actually in the room with us right
She
now.
checks in with us, calls us when she gets home.
She's saying I'm not okay.
She's holding up a sign right now.
So we went a little bit over it. What kind of rigs you guys have? I know we heard a lot about the guitars and stuff, but what about drums?
What about drums?
Well,
Which drums?
I break a lot of things and I'm careless, so my
So it
drums
changes
are like,
daily.
dude, it's a Frankenstein set for sure.
Frankenstein.
I bought a drum set a couple of years ago. He had a drum set. He obviously had his own drum set.
We don't play
But,
drums, by the way. We just
yeah,
bought
yeah,
drums.
you-
Yeah, I got a really good deal. That's why I did it.
My
has
drum
extra money.
set is a Mapex. That's what I try to keep like together. It really hadn't gone very well, but I play on a Mapex.
And then I have a Pearl.
And
That's-
mine's D drum. Is that what it's called?
I think so, D-drum. And Dalton uses pieces from each one.
Then
No,
he uses
yours
like
is a Mapex too, bro.
no, it's not.
The blue and black one?
Is it? I don't
It's
know.
Mapex.
But then he
Yeah,
uses
dude.
you use Iron Cobras. That's like
I use Iron Cobras. That's
Cool.
like I'm honestly not 100% picky about a lot of things. Like I obviously have like go-tos like with cymbals, but a lot of those cymbals are very expensive. Like if I could choose what I wanted, I'd probably use primarily Zildjians. I have a couple, but like I said, I break things, so it's kind of like it's hard for me to spend $300 on a cymbal I know I'm going to break in like 2 months.
Right.
Yeah. Iron Cobras are the shit. Like that's the one thing that I prefer. Like because I had one for a long time, but I played barefoot for the longest time, and I'm a sweaty person in general, anyways. So like
That shit got
I would
rusty
just
as
sweat
fuck.
all over them, and they got really rusty. But I got a new set, and they're awesome. I definitely I
Symbols?
stand by Iron Cobras. So I use a pasty ride. I have this stack that's like it was honestly one of my favorite Chinas. It's a Sabian 18-inch, and it's really thin, and it kind of like over time, like it wouldn't even necessarily break. It would just kind of warp, and the more it warped, the more badass it sounded. But it eventually broke, so I put another broken cymbal on top of it, and I use that as a stack. I use this Sabian Crash. I can't even necessarily think of what the model is, but it's one of the one with the holes in it. It kind of has like it's almost like a prolonged China sound.
Okay.
Then I have Sabian hats. My dad actually got me for Christmas a couple years ago. Got me an Orange County snare, which is pretty dope. Sticks, just whatever aren't broken. I just use what I can. And then a China, sometimes it kind of alternates. Like sometimes I don't even set up a China, and I'll just kind of like work with the stack more often. The China's kind of a revolving door, but like I said, I sound like a very unprofessional drummer. I use what's in front of me. All right.
He uses the China when he has one that isn't too broken, because the China is one of those things that like he's gonna probably use it in one of the heaviest parts,
Yeah,
and he's
definitely, I
gonna
hit it
probably
hard.
break it after just 2 or 3 shows.
Yeah, I remember
just like,
someone offered to let me use their China at a show, and I was just like, hey, like I hit my
Dude, I'm gonna break this. Come on.
I hit it pretty hard, and he's like, oh, it's cool, man.
It's like
I
you're basically
doubt,
giving it to him.
I doubt you're gonna hit it harder than I do. And then like I like kind of told myself like, take it easy. I don't want to break this dude's shit, but adrenaline kicks in. You just kind of like lose those things when you're playing live. And after one of like our first breakdowns where I used it, I realized after the part, and I looked into the crowd and I saw the drummer, and you could just see in his eyes like, I fucked up. Like I shouldn't let this dude use my shit. But yeah, I use whatever I got, man.
So what kind of
Whatever.
guitar you got?
Okay, so I use this I bought this Schecter Triple X series. It's got these like, like the trucker mud flap, the silhouette of the naked woman. It's got those on the inlays. I bought it off some dude on fucking Craigslist or MySpace or some shit for $75. And then I put EMGs into it. I spent more on the EMGs than I did on the guitar. And but I used that a lot on touring. and getting wild and shit. It's got fucking pieces of wood that have been broken off and shit.
He's slammed the guitar into the ground literally
a few times
and just broken the jack off from the guitar, and then have to pull out this broken jack somihow.
We all have different levels of recklessness.
We definitely do. But for the music video, Musician's Friend, they had that stupid deal today, and I've always wanted a fucking telly. So they had one of those G&L Telecasters, and
let me just take it from the bottom.
It was a really good deal. I was like, let me take the chance. You get like a 40-day, period where if you hate it, you can send it back. And I really love it. Aside from the fact that I hate it doesn't have the body cutaway. You know what I mean? Like it jabs into my ribs because it doesn't have that body cut. Yeah, dude. Like that's the only downside I have to that telly. There's some dude that commented on Mathcore's thing about no, he just commented about this metal band playing with a telly. This band, and I was like, okay.
He took it pretty personally.
I got really upset about it,
and he called me pretty late.
I threw.
Told him not to worry about it.
I threw the guitar away now, but anyways, so and then as a third, just a pure backup if I fuck everything up at a live set, I have a Jackson Dinky series.
Oh, dude, that's a sick guitar.
Yeah, dude, it is.
It's like an old guitar. It's like his high school guitar.
I had an ex-girlfriend that bought it for me like fucking like 14 years ago.
She's still alive.
Yeah, she is still alive, unfortunately. But that was fucked up. No, she's cool. But yeah, no, I use that as the backup. It doesn't have the Floyd Rose, which I prefer because that shit goes out of tune so easily. Like I mean, if it didn't, I would figure out a way to do some shit with it, but that shit goes out way out of tune real fast.
So what did you record with in the telly?
So Panned Left is with the Schecter. I don't know if there's this mirror imaged, whatever.
There is,
so
but it's all good.
Yeah, okay, cool. So Panned Left is with the humbucker, the Schecter, and then Panned Right is it wasn't with the telly actually. It was one of Timmy's guitars. He had this badass Fender Stratocaster that I think it had Seymour Duncans in it. I don't know, but we compared my telly to his Strat, and I just preferred the tone. I was like, I wasn't upset about the fact that it wasn't my guitar to put on the track. Like, it's what you're hearing live is going to be more of a raw. It doesn't have to be the same exact tone, the same exact sound as what's on the album. The album is what you're listening to every day. So I thought, or well, hopefully to fans out there every day.
Listen every day, please.
Yeah. So I was like, no, fuck this. Let's go with the Strat instead of the telly, and I'm very happy with it for sure.
Nice.
Jordan's actually making a studio video.
Yeah.
He's editing it, footage that we had from the studio, and you'll see a little bit of that in the video.
For the third song, Kyoko Go Go, we actually shot everything that we were recorded in the studio for the most part, but we actually ended up losing some footage, so we had to reshoot some of my stuff. But we still had, because we had 3 angles of everything, we still had so much footage of all of them. But I was gonna say the only other thing he didn't say is on the CD he actually played with a Gibson bass, which is Timmy's bass.
It was one of those badass short scale. I don't even know how many frets that has. Like maybe 14 frets or 15 frets, something like that.
It's a little more.
Maybe it's more than that. I don't fucking remember.
Maybe 18.
But
that's a pretty big gap.
But yeah, whatever. I'm short. We're all short. In case y'all want to know, I'm 5'6". He's 5'7". He's 5'8". We're all very fucking short.
Dude,
so
I feel you. That's where I'm at.
Dude,
hell yeah, brother.
Maybe it's a Texas thing. I don't know, dude. Allen, Texas, represent, bro. Yeah. So when he pulled out the short scale bass, and he was like, dude, the tone on this is killer. Use this, and because I brought my own bass, I have a fuck, why'd I lose it? The Music Man.
Ooh, professional.
Dude, it sounds beautiful. I love it. But he pulled out this bass and he's like, well, with what y'all are wanting to achieve for this band, like he's like, your bass is great for other stuff, but with what y'all want to achieve on this album, he's like, you use mine. And I was like, I trust you, dude. And I mean, he's as Jordan said before, he played in bands back when we were in high school. Like when we were trying to get onto shows, his band had been playing those shows we were trying to get onto. And I mean, he just, he got older, has a family and kids and stuff. And I think he still plays in bands. I don't know how often he plays shows, but the dude's just a jack of all trades, to be honest. Like, he's an awesome guy, and I would absolutely suggest anybody go record with this guy if you live anywhere in the North Texas area. Like, he's phenomenal.
Damn, what band was he in?
Nevolution. What was the one before that?
Dude,
I know it's so long ago. So Nevolution.
I know it. Torque. Yeah,
that was a long time ago.
Yeah.
He played.
Torque is the first band I saw him in when I was literally like 12 years old in like 2002. I went to like my first metal show. It was this festival in Wichita Falls, Texas, and I saw Jesse Witt's first band hit. That was called Shellick. He was still in high school, I think. He was like maybe a senior in high school or something. Saw his band for the first time, and then saw Timmy's band for the first time.
Let us say real quick that Jesse Witt, the singer of Under the Pier, if it's not obvious by now, he's from the same hometown as all three of us. We're all from Wichita Falls, Texas.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, dude. So he used to be in a band called 10 Cent Pistol, and they were a big influence on us. Like, we fucking went to a show. I think I was 13, 14 years old, where it was like As Lay Dying, Throwdown, Winter Solstice. I forget who all, but 10 Cent Pistol played that show. They were a phenomenal band. And
yeah, Jesse Witt actually, he was like one of the main promoters in Wichita Falls, so he would bring big bands like that. He booked that show.
That's right.
And he would bring like badass bands like Cephalic Carnage and Fear Before the March of Flames. Saw them, like totally a mixed show, but like, dude, you're never gonna see that again.
Paulson,
like, yeah, there's this band from like up north called Paulson. They were like super big, and they would come through. They were actually really badass. But no, he was like kind of like one of like the dads of the scene in a sense. And then his band broke up, and like me and then Timmy is vocalist for his band. We took over the scene whenever Jesse like kind of moved and did his own thing. And that's kind of like one of the reasons why I was like so close with Timmy, is just like we would play shows with their band and book shows with their band and stuff like that all the time.
What band were you guys in?
Light of December.
Let's fucking forget that name immediately.
Light of December.
We started that back in 06. It was just the three of us. And then we got no, it was 06.
Okay.
We started in 06. Just the three of us. Ended up getting another guitar player, and then we ended up like 07 getting this guy who was our keyboard player, who he actually is on the album on our interlude tracks. Him and Dalton did the interlude tracks, and they actually have a band together called Darwin.
It's electronic alternative music. It's really cool. Just two guys, drums and
he's a homie.
He's the man.
We even contemplated having him play bass for us, but just doing it on the keys. It kind of seems strange, but he's like one of our
one of the
tightest homies, and he's a dope musician.
He's smarter than we'll ever be.
Yeah, he's got like the combination of like just like natural talent and the like
theory,
the knowledge behind it. Like he's taking classes.
He's one of the best musicians I've ever played with, hands down.
No, he actually made us a better band in our first band, and then just like once we had that lineup of like him and the other guitar player and Devin and us, we like probably wrote like a mixture of like 10 songs together. And that's when we really kind of like elevated our sound in some senses. But it was about that time where they were graduating from high school and doing other stuff,
going off to college,
and just different things like that. So we broke up as a band and didn't play for like 2 years. And then it was like we ended like 2 years into it. After that, we were just like,
we need more.
Let's just play music and just see what it sounds like together. You know what I mean? And we played a few shows. And then we just like maybe like a year after that, when we finally had the time and were able to do it, we like started writing and did our first EP.
So yeah, as a disclaimer, or as a whatever point, we used to have a second guitar player. He's on the first EP. And
I'm sorry, a second what?
Guitar player.
Oh, okay.
Oh, shit! The fucking mic. I'm sorry. The microphone fell. No, it's the ashtray. We're holding up the ashtray. Okay, so yeah, we had a second guitar player. Sorry, guys. We had a second guitar player, and really, he added a lot. He was in the first EP. We loved what he did and everything, but he left the band to pursue his career, which we totally support. We wish him the best and stuff. Haven't talked to him in a while, but we wish him the best. Hope everything's going well for him and stuff. But yeah, I mean, after that, then no, go ahead, help yourself. But yeah, sorry, he wanted a beer. So
Water. I wanted water.
yeah, he wanted some of that death water. What is it called?
Liquid Death.
Liquid Death. Somebody posted that in the fucking comments. He's like, I thought y'all
It's
were
because
drinking
the Miller
Death.
Lite. It looks very
No,
similar.
it does. Also, that same guy said something else, and I fucking lost the fucking chat, so I can't respond to him. Anyways, lost my train of thought. Rock and roll. Go ahead.
Moving on.
Moving on.
Alrighty. So, what bands are you guys currently jamming, and what would you say is your album of the year?
Okay, so I've seen your fucking podcasts.
Yeah, we knew you were gonna ask this question.
I knew you were gonna ask this question, and I was fucking trying to show them the shit that I've been, because I still listen to my old my go-tos, like Dillinger, Converge, The Chariot, fucking Etid. I go to my go-to See You Next Tuesday, which actually your music reminds me a lot of that, that grindcore with those slow fucking breakdowns. Yeah, Dalton thing reminds your shit reminds me of Psyopus a lot. So anyways, so
of course.
So I was like, okay, what is my favorite fucking album of this year? And I think it's by End. Splinters of a Near, what the fuck is it called? You know what I'm talking about? Dude, I know, I fucking forget the shit. Well, I forget the name of the album. Splinters from an Ever-Changing Face, by End.
It technically has Dillinger's old
it's
drummer.
got is that
Billy
for sure?
Reimer.
Billy Reimer played drums for them, the Dillinger's old drummer for that album.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
From what I've heard from this guy,
Yeah, he plays live
he
and
might be a
everything.
liar. I
I'm
don't
not
know.
there. I don't think he's their original drummer, but for this release, I believe that he is their drummer.
So no, I've been jamming the shit out of that album, and I love that album. Also, Fond Limbs, Sleeper Vessels. That
Hell yeah.
I really enjoyed that album as well.
Some dirty
They
stuff.
they just put out that drum playthrough, and I think I watched that
Nasty.
video like
Nasty.
so many fucking times, dude. It's done. I need to see it.
What? I know y'all are not positive.
I'm about to say they knew that you were gonna ask this question. I didn't, and
I told you.
Well, you
dude.
brought it up, and I was like, "Ah, shit, dude." I have an answer. I just thought about it. I thought about it.
Yeah, I know.
Sometimes
I know.
He thought. He took a thought.
So, like, piggybacking off what he said, like, I typically just listen to previous things. There's only so many bands that I like listen to back in the day that are still putting out quality music that I'll listen to every time I die being one of them, waiting for that new CD. But in terms of stuff coming out this year, Sun Lux, it definitely doesn't relate to our sound or anything like that. But
they're awesome.
They came out with a CD this year that's pretty dope. They're a lot more. They're closer to my other band, which is.
By the way, his other band is called Darwin. It's on Spotify. Did we?
Yeah,
it's Darwin without
the vowels.
Without the I, just the I.
No, that's without the A too. Just the vowels without the vowels. Like
Damn. Is that like a new thing that bands are doing?
Yeah.
So DRWN?
Yeah, it's weird, dude. Like, it was literally one of those things. Like, when we came up with Darwin, people were like, "Oh, y'all really like Charles Darwin, right?" It's like, I guess, like, that's not really it though. Like, honestly, we were just like, we had been writing music for a long time, but didn't really do anything with it. And we were both kind of at a party drinking a lot of water. You know what I'm saying? And we were just like, man, we need to put this out. And there's like There's a story about Darwin. He had his like theory, but he sat on it for a long time because he was going to get a lot of flack. But then this other dude that I don't know his name was about to publish the same shit. So people went up to Darwin, was like, "You need to put that out." And I was like, "Bro, that's like us, man. Like we need to put out this music." So we called it Darwin. But
let's change that real quick.
We eventually changed it to without the A, but on here there is an A.
So
but,
on Spotify, it's DARWN.
We called it Darwin, but we also thought about the issue of people just putting in Darwin spelt normally, and then just the bald dude with the beard popping up. Like there's a lot of Charles Darwin stuff. So we're like, well, we need to like modify it a little bit just so it's a little more specific.
If you want to see what their shit, it's that picture. Go listen to that shit, dude.
It's been a while since we've been doing stuff. He's got a new job and stuff like that, but he's a homie, man. Like it's like the same thing with us. Like I've known him for so long and played music with him for so long. Like even when it came to the interludes that are on the album that we wrote together, it was just nice because I just kind of came in with very vague ideas. Like I can just give him the weirdest concoction of words, and he's like, "Oh, you mean this?" I'm like, yeah. Like weirdly enough that you knew exactly what I was saying, but you nailed it.
Y'all wrote the majority of the interlude together, correct?
Both of them. The interlude and the outro.
I thought the outro that you only helped for like 30 seconds, and then he just finished that.
Oh, we worked on it for one day, and we got like technically like 75% of what it was.
Oh,
but
okay.
like that one was just easier to write. Like we wrote it and we're like, dude, because even before I left, it was like, this is it. Structurally, this is how it should go. You run with it because you're a badass. And then I came back the second day and I was just like, hell yeah. Like,
y'all talking about the interlude and outro of y'all's album?
Yeah. So there's the interlude is right before Migs, that industrial sounding shit.
Mm-hmm.
And then the
outro,
I mean, you're the only one who's heard that's listening to this shit. But then the outro, the way Dalton described it to me, he was like, I want an outro and I want it to be hauntingly beautiful. And I was like, that's a very cool, unique way of thinking of it. And I was like, I want to see what y'all come up with. And then Devin sent me the track, and I was like, "Oh shit!"
It's got some Silent Hill vibes. Like there's
Very
one specific sound that is
just like my favorite video.
It's pretty close to Silent Hill, but I like to think of it. I like to think of it as an homage.
Yeah, I could never play Silent Hill back in the day. That shit scared me.
No, dude,
I loved it. It's so good. It gives you such a heart attack.
The two of us used to play it naked all the time, bro.
It's the dark. Looped out. No, but to answer your question on my end, I was gonna say my favorite album is Greg from Dillinger's album. But whenever people ask me this question, I feel like the last 2 years I just go back to the New Daughters album because that's honestly that
18 or 19.
It's 18, like late 18, I think. But that album is just like constantly playing for me, just because I love that shit. Also, they know I'm obsessed with Cult Leader, so I also listen to that band. Like I've worship that band.
We definitely have our like a Venn diagram. We have bands that fit into the middle of that we all are really big fans of.
And but we listen to a lot of other
different
shit too.
overlap.
That's completely.
Oh,
but we also even like some of that shit together.
Me and
Ben like some hip hop.
Me and Dalton like hip hop. Dalton and I love JID. Fucking Kendrick. Jordan likes Kendrick too.
Kendrick. And Tyler
the Creator. Like we listen to all kinds of shit. Fucking. I'll jam some fucking Bruno Mars. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, if I like it, I like it. You know what I mean? Like,
Little Sims.
Dude, Little Sims. Oh, Little Sims from the UK.
Oh, she actually came out with something this year that I really like. It's more of an EP, but it's really good.
Goes off. She's tight. She's tight.
Her instrumentals are cool. It's kind of like, it's hip hop, but it's like almost kind of like old school hip hop. And more so her last EP, some of the bass lines remind me of like a tamer version of Rage Against the Machine. Like how it kind of has that like groovy rock feel, but it's more subdued and has a rapper on top of it.
It's tight. Also, like, Snarky Puppies, some jazz.
Singular.
Is it just Snarky Puppy?
Yeah. They're actually from Denton, which is pretty dope because they win Grammys like every year.
Yeah, no. I'd have to look. Oh, yeah, like Dalton said earlier, Sonlux, SONLUX.
They're cool, man.
Check that out. You don't have to, if you're into whatever, like they're tight.
It's chiller for sure. Like it's definitely not like, hey, you like us, check out some Lux. Like we're not similar at all.
No.
But
this band Wayfair,
it's nice.
Actually, I was gonna say this band Wayfair, they're like, people try and say they're a black metal band, and they definitely have that element. But dude, I actually booked them with my friend, And I never heard them before. I was like, oh, they're a black metal band. And I heard them, I was like, oh, this band is not, they have the element of it, but they're so melodic and just like really badass. They just put out a fucking new song that's going to be on their new album. It's like an 11-minute song, but it goes so many places and it's melodic as fuck. It's definitely something to check out for sure. Wayfarer. That's probably honestly, I don't know if I think it's releasing in like November, December, or maybe the end of this month. But the one song I've heard from that is like, honestly, one of my favorite things I've heard all year.
It looks like you're lighting your beer bottle on fire.
I like hot beer. I really like hot beer.
Shit, son. The beer hot. What's up, bro?
So, you guys have the same issue as me being so far from clubs, but I think y'all are a bit closer to Fort Worth. If y'all are anything like me, it's hard to bring people out. Like, that was one of my biggest issues when I was playing shows around
For
here.
sure.
Has that been y'all's experience as well?
Without a fucking doubt, dude.
Right.
Like we are very much as has been described to us as a band's band. So like a lot like the bands that are there are like, oh, that's tight shit. But then other people that have heard our music are like, I'm just not feeling it. Yeah, it's just
if you're not a big name, it's hard to draw for sure.
Without a doubt, yeah. If you're not a big metal name, it's hard to draw. Or if you, I mean, and we're not from here. We have friends. When we play in Denton, we can have a decent draw from our friends who don't even like our music.
It's funny because they're like really good friends, so they come out and support us, but they really don't listen to metal. So they're there and like kind of just like, okay, this is cool.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, exactly. So like, but when we play in Fort Worth or Dallas, it's like the people that are in bands that appreciate us, that show up, or the bands that have never heard us that we're playing with that night. They come up and are hanging out with us, talking to us, and which is really nice. It's really cool because
like compliments are always great, but when it comes from musicians, it has a little bit more weight.
Definitely has more weight, without a doubt, than just some random person. Like, don't get me wrong, I love the random person fucking coming up to me being like,
"Yeah." Anybody that says like, "Hey, I like that," it's like, "Hey, man,
always
like,
flattering.
That's fucking awesome. Like, appreciate it."
Oh, without a doubt,
we play for the peeps.
I don't mean to underwhelm random people that are.
Ben hates our fans. Me and Jordan love them.
It actually really sucks because half the time when we play a show, and this is just like a weird thing with me, I fucking throw up. It's usually like I'm so happy if it doesn't happen because usually it ruins my fucking night. But
like a nervous thing, or like you're on stage?
No, it's more like just all things like just exhaustion and just using my body and using my diaphragm to like scream so much, and also just trying to move around as much as I can while I'm doing that. Like
headbanging and exerting his
somehow
diaphragm.
I try not to drink and stuff like that when I play too, because that obviously isn't gonna fucking help. But
have you ever like vomited on somebody?
I
just projectile vomit into the crowd.
I don't know, because there was actually this one time I was really I actually threw up only because I got food poisoning or something. Like I literally like 2 hours before a show, totally fine. We're about to play. I was like, man, I don't feel good. I don't know what's wrong. Just start fucking puking like everywhere. And I shouldn't have played the show. And even like halfway through the set, I was like, Ben's like, we have this many songs left, and I was like, no, just say one. He totally had no idea what I was saying, but I don't remember what he thought I was saying.
Last 3 songs,
but I think he like handed me a water bottle or something. I don't know, but I was throwing up like the whole set. Had literally his sister took me home afterwards. I passed out. Didn't even wake up the next day until like 12 o'clock in the afternoon. But like that is like the worst thing is like you get off stage and you had a good show to a good crowd. And these people want to just be like, hey man, like you were awesome. And can we have a conversation? And I obviously I want to have a conversation with you, but could you give me 15 minutes because I'm going to fucking puke everywhere. And it sucks too because sometimes they're like, I'm trying to be nice and not even saying anything. They're just like, yeah, and I'm trying to listen to you. And I'm like, I'm going to fucking throw up all over you. I don't want to do it.
That shirt is open. It's going to go on
there. It sucks, but it's fun. You know what I mean? At the same time.
That is one of those weird things about playing shows is as soon as we get done, like each one of us have a different, perspective. But me personally, I guess I'm being empathetic, and I'm thinking of the band that's going on after us. I don't want to take up their set time. So I want to get off stage as quick as possible. Yeah. But I also feel like complete fucking dirt. And so I don't want to fucking move. So I'm like dragging my head because my fucking head is hurting, and I'm like picking up my amps. And anybody that ever offers me help, I'm like, please. And they're like, what do you need? I say, get whatever the fuck you want off the stage. Like, just
Keep
take
something
just
if you
take
have to.
anything.
Just take it.
Yeah, if you want to take that guitar home, it's fine. Just take it off stage. I know Dalton is also exhausted. Jordan, like he said, he almost vomits every single time.
And I still try and help too. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna fucking get this one amp with him, and maybe like one tom, and then I'm just like running away.
It's one of those things. And maybe I don't know how many bands are like this, but maybe wait until they're at the merch table, because then they're probably good. Maybe just 10 minutes after the set's over.
Talk to us when we're done.
Dude,
when we're done, come right up to us.
All we want to do is...
We appreciate the love.
All we want to do is to be like...
Dude, it smells like vomit.
All we want to do is talk to our fans. Like anybody that is a fan, anybody that loved our music, we would love to talk to you. But it's one of those like really difficult things. As soon as we're done, like we're fucking so deprived of our life.
No, and it sucks too because we only play for like 30 minutes, and we'll play some shows where the club's like, hey, like we know that y'all draw a crowd a little bit. Maybe it'll be like from some random ass club, and they'll be like, can you play for 45 to an hour? And we're like, we can play one more song than normal.
It's rough. It's kind of disappointing.
But it's like we're still going to play for like 33 minutes instead of 30. Like, you know what I mean? So it's just like you're really not going to get anything out of this.
I wish we could, man. Like, I'll literally like go and like I like volleyball. We'll play for like 8 hours straight. And like the 30 minutes that we play destroys me so much worse than like being in the sun and like playing a sport, Like I wish we could play for 45 minutes. But it's a lot, man. I don't throw up like this guy, but I feel like it, like throwing up my heart.
Which our new album, I don't think it's quite as, and then the weird, and then this might not trying to like down our new album, but in the weirdest way, it's more thought out than our other stuff on some ends. So it might not be as crazy for us in certain parts. So it might be, and they're shorter songs. A lot of our songs used to be like 4 or 5 minutes long. These are more like 2.5 minute songs.
10 tracks.
So there's a little bit more breathing room live, and we can technically play more songs when they're shorter.
It's a little more.
Hopefully, we can please people more a little bit with that kind of structure too.
I focused more on like structure compared to our old shit, where I was like more so our like old stuff. I was new at the drums, so I was like, I just got to be like, I got to come up with like the craziest shit. So
you talking about high school?
Yeah, and that was just like kind of my mindset is just like, I'm just gonna play the craziest shit I can play, and there's just like that's always cool when you have moments like that. But when your shit is always like that, it's like we like some groove, and this album was more like focused on structure, I guess, than on like showcasing our talent in a way,
as well as diversity, right?
Yeah,
we try to keep very much focused on diversity of each song being different than the last, but still flowing well into the next song.
The beginnings of songs specifically, like I try to like, where if you were to really just like scan through each song, like they would each have their own kind of personality. Like one will start heavy, one will start with just the drums, one will start with just Ben, just trying to keep it different. Like that's what we try to do. Keep it heavy, keep it different.
Have fun with it.
Make it dirty. Make him throw up. Yeah.
What's the crowd's reaction to you throwing up?
It's weird because one of the first times it ever happened, I remember it happened in actually a completely different band. I was buddies with these dudes, and they needed a vocalist. So I played some shows with them. And I ended up randomly throwing up during like the end of this song, and I had no idea that there was actually a trash can, like right.
You talking about Reno's?
And no, this is a totally different band. But there was a trash can really close to where I was, but I was so out of it and about to throw up, I somehow just completely didn't see it. It was like invisible to me. So I throw up all over the fucking floor in this fucking venue on the end stuff. And this production company is like a kind of a bigger production company, and they were fucking pissed. They were like, where you got these big bands playing, you're throwing up all over the floor, and they made me clean it up myself afterwards, and it was so fucking funny. But it was fucking hilarious. Like, it sucked cleaning my own puke, but I mean, it's my fucking puke. I should have puked on the But it was fucking great. But like, how pissed they were, because it's not even my band. Like, I'm just filling in. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not gonna affect me in any way. But it was just so funny. They were so mad. I get it. Like, there's a trash can like a foot over, and I had no idea. But no, the only part that sucks is when I can feel that it might happen, and I'm like, no, dude, I gotta fucking play this fucking song. I can't fucking not do my part. And so that's the thing, is like, whenever it ends up happening, if it happens and it's during a part and I'm supposed to be doing vocals, that's why I'm just kind of like, man, what if this is someone's favorite part and I didn't know that, and they fucking like don't get to hear it? That would just like make me feel like a dick. But other than that, like, I mean, like I said, I don't drink before I play and stuff like that now, so that way it doesn't happen. I drink a lot of water and try to take care of my body days of shows, especially like on tour and stuff like that. Like, have so much actual food and like water, and not like hot water and like room temperature water, not cold water, so my vocal cords get tense. I have to push too hard or anything like that. Like, try and like be smart about it. That way I can give somebody a good show and hopefully not.
Hey, BPXO, thank you for commenting constantly and being the only one.
Hell yeah.
Because we love you, dude.
We love you, and yes, we throw up just for you.
Give us a zinger, bro.
Throw us a nice question out, BPXO. And once Chris is done, he's the lead.
So you guys are talking about going on tour and playing shows and stuff. What are some of the crazy stories? I know we just heard one, but you got anything else?
So the very first night, okay, so we went on tour last summer to San Diego and back. The very first night, we played at this bar, which it was weird. Like, the back half was the venue, then the front half was just the bar, but yet there was a bar at the venue, and nobody came back to watch any of the bands. People only drank in the front. It was really weird.
It's basically a glorified practice.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
But they actually still paid us really good. It was one of those things where they somehow, instead of them being dicks, like, they were like, hey, no, like, you actually, like, here's a chunk of fucking change, man.
So we brought a tent with us on tour because, okay, we went on tour with another band. We shared a 15-passenger van between 10 of us, and which there's only 3 of us. And so there was, not a whole lot of room on the van. And so the first night we were like, hey, we have a tent. The 3 of us will sleep in our tent and y'all sleep in the van. No big deal. We're like, okay, we got to figure out where we're going to sleep. So the fucking owner of the bar was like, hey, y'all can just pitch the tent in the alley. It's a fucking alley. Dude, that is just gravel.
It was great. I'm not going to lie. Like, we had our tent set up and like, I'm in like my underwear drinking from a bottle of whiskey and like looking over, and people are still taking trash out from like their restaurants because it's in the alleyway where there's dumpsters. So I'm just like literally just like looking like the happiest homeless guy ever.
In a town that we've never even been in. You know what I mean?
I got so blackout whiskey drunk because that was the only way that I could fall asleep.
I'm surprised he brought up the story. He wasn't even there for the fun stuff.
No,
he actually passed out, and me and this guy are like kind of the only people awake. Like, the people in the other band were like awake slightly and listening to us apparently because we were like loud and obnoxious and just having way too much fun because we're just we're cool like that.
We're cool.
Dude, I remember talking shit to a cardboard box, dude. I'm really blind, and so I like at this point I have my contacts out, and I like hear something outside of our tent. And I'm like kind of joking, but I'm like, who the fuck is there? And I like getting all hyped, and I go outside and realize it's a cardboard box battle. So I'm like, fuck you, bro. I'm like kicking it to the dumpster and throw it away.
It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, but I was trying to get him to get on the roof of this fucking building with me, and he would not fucking do it. But it was
weird. He's scared of heights.
This story would have been even better.
Rational.
But just letting him know that he has regrets in his life.
Being a logical human being. We were in an alleyway. I was in my underwear, bro. We can't do whatever we want.
No, but actually, funny thing is on that same tour, we had to like pitch our tent on the side of this like rest area in New Mexico at night, so it's fucking freezing, and we literally are basically like asleep in the back of this van and at like 11, 12 o'clock at night, whatever it was, and they're like, hey, like, get the fuck out and pitch your tin, you know, and it's just freezing. And I remember, like, literally, like, it's so cold. Like, I literally was, like, half awake, and I'm, like, just
You
standing
were cold.
there.
That was like the most comfortable.
I was
night
like,
for me.
no. I'm saying, like, when we're putting the tin up, they're like, okay, hurry up and put the tin up.
Oh, okay.
And it's fucking freezing, and we're, like, shorts because it was hot fucking a couple hours ago when it was daytime. And we're fucking outside, and I literally was, like, half awake and basically, like, fell asleep, like, almost on the van. And Dalton's like, Jordan, you have to just help us for 3 more minutes, and then we can go to sleep. And I was like, "You're right,
Dude,
you're right."
but it was so.
But it was
cold.
just one of those things where, like, you're
good.
just so out of it, and you're just like freezing, and you have no idea what's going on. You're just like, you know what I mean?
So,
It's just
there
hilarious.
was one show that we played in Arizona, and Yuma, Arizona,
Yeah, like,
and we had so many technical difficulties. We played awful that fucking night. It was we were all like very angry about it. Like, it was nobody's fault. It was just technical difficulties,
my
and we only
drum set. Just
right, and we only had
couldn't
so
hold
much
together.
time. Are you getting a beer? Grab me a beer.
Yeah, right.
So we only had so much, time for the set, and so like it sucked. We just had to do what we had to do, and the set sucked, and we were just pissed about it. So we're in a bad mood, and then next thing we know, this couple, I fucking wish I could remember their names because I'd love to give them a shout out. I don't know if they're even watching.
awesome human beings.
But super awesome people. So they invited us back to their house, and then let all 10 of us sleep inside their house. And then we woke up and they smoked us out, and then we left. So then we go to San Diego, and then on our way back, we get caught in this horrible rainstorm, and we're just hitting Arizona, and somebody texted one of them and was like, hey, is there, anything, like any way that we could possibly maybe stay at y'all's place? And they messaged us, and they're like, please come over. Again, we went over there. They smoked us out. We woke up the next morning, and they cooked us all French toast.
Damn.
And
Yeah, it was pretty
it
dope.
was.
We didn't stay with them the first time. We just chilled there for a little bit. Like, we didn't stay the night.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, because I remember being like, why didn't we stay here both nights? Like, they cooked us breakfast and things like that. No, we literally just like
Shit
chilled
runs
time with them the
together.
first time.
Shit runs
Because I was super excited because like I love my dog and I obviously didn't have her with me, and they had like 3 dogs and I was like too excited. They're like, dude, chill. I'm like, there's dogs here, dude. Like, what are you talking about? There's 3 of them, man. Yeah, that was a good time for sure. They were awesome people. They were super hospitable.
Okay, hey BXPO or BPXO. The set sucked because of technical difficulties. And when I say technical difficulties, I mean my amp fucking up. I mean his double kick fucking up.
Yeah,
like
the
literally the attachment came apart, and at one point he was only playing with a left foot.
He's not left-footed.
Yeah, he's not left-footed, in case that makes a difference. Yeah. So that's the kind of technical difficulties I'm talking about.
I have like I'll say that and people are like, oh yeah, really? I'm like, no, dude, like I literally have nightmares where I'm like playing in front of all these people, but while I'm playing, like my drums are just floating away from me. So I'm like playing like Inspector Gadget, like trying to figure out how to do this, and it's super stressful. Like, so when it happens in actual real life, it's a nightmare. Like, I hate it.
Without a doubt. And BPXO, I know that there's no one to get mad at. It just sucks. And we were mad at the situation, brother.
Oh yeah, shit happens, man. It
Shit
just happens.
happens.
You can't be mad at anybody.
And,
sometimes.
well, we're just mad at the situation, not mad at each
Oh,
other,
it's
not mad
a
at
vicious
guy
cycle.
fucking
Like my drum set
short.
will like fuck up, so I'll get really mad at it. Like, it has like a personality, but I'll just be really mad. So I like hit it harder, which in turn causes it to fuck up more. So it's like, you're breaking, so I'm gonna hit you harder, and it like doesn't make sense, but that's the only way I handle it.
Trying to teach
So
us
it's
a lesson.
Yeah, it's like, I'm gonna spank the shit out of you, dude. But then like when I spank it too hard, it keeps on breaking, and like
It's an unhealthy relationship between him and his drum
Dude,
set,
it's-
for
it's-
sure. For
And
sure.
the thing is, sometimes they're
not
not his
healthy.
drums, apparently, as you heard. So it's like
Yeah,
even worse.
sometimes they're my drums or his drums.
I'm sorry. I'm
And
sorry
by
to
the way,
drums, and I'm
you're
sorry
the
to
only
y'all.
one who has a snare that works at this present moment because you broke the other 2 of ours. So,
I do. At one
suck
time, we
it.
had like 5 or 6 snares, and all of them were broken. And that was like the only reason we couldn't practice is because we had no snares. It was so great.
Told you, I'm sorry.
It's okay. We forgive you. We love you. You're the foundation of the band.
Stop calling me that, bro. I don't have any charities. I'm not
Whatever.
a foundation.
Dude, listen.
Not yet.
Listen. We would be nothing without you.
Aw.
Dude, it's so sweet, but it's also so like he's just saying "fuck you" basically. Like with
Yeah.
not,
I don't know if you can see my eyes rolling,
Oh, I
see
can't.
but they are
but to bury him under my
Hard
foundation,
for
keep on doing it.
about to bury something inside your foundation.
I have
Oh.
jokes in my head and I can't say them out loud, so I'm just gonna stick to
Good answer.
Thanks,
Good
man.
answer.
I'm proud of you, dude.
Okay, I'm sorry. You got another question for us, Chris?
I did notice there was a bit of a gap between 2016 and 2019. What was going on there?
Fuck yeah, let's talk about that real quick. So, it started with me. Me and Jordan were living in Wichita. Dalton was in Denton. We would get together. Dalton would come in for summer break because he's in college, or Christmas break, and we would do some riding. We would do some, some shows, whatever.
What he's saying at that time, we lived together, but we had this big ass house, and we actually had that as our jam pad. So that was our jam pad for like years.
Yes. Okay. So then my sister, being a very smart, brilliant girl, she dude, shut up, dude. Dude, I love her. Okay, so
She's your foundation.
so she got accepted into a nursing program in Austin, Texas. There was like 800 applicants and only 8 positions. She was one of the 8. So we were very happy and proud of her. My parents and myself, she's also a single mom with 2 kids. So we all moved to try to help her out, support her, help her live her dream. So then at that point, for a year, I lived in Austin, he lived in Wichita Falls, and then he lived in Denton. I was 3.5 hours away from Denton, and then I was 5 hours away from Jordan. Like it was stupid. And so I don't know if you know the song Biagio off of the EP, the Way of the Future EP. I wrote that in my apartment. Most of it, everything but 2 parts of it, I wrote on the guitar just because I was so goddamn bored. And I was like listening to just different stuff. And I was like, you know what? Like, I need to write something. Wrote that, showed up to Dalton. I said, hey, these are all the parts I have. He goes, hey, let's throw this part in here and then this part at the end. It's fucking good. And so then we did Biagio. Go ahead.
I was gonna say is whenever he moved, I got my own place. We actually tried to have practice there, and literally we played like one song, I think, and we hear someone banging on my door. We assume it's just my neighbor, and so we finished the song.
Forgot about that.
And it's the cops, and they dented in my front door because it's a metal door. So I had to obviously explain it to my landlord and shit. But we realized really quick we can't practice here, so we didn't have a jam pad for a minute. We didn't practice in jam and stuff like that for so long, and then some of our friends, they had a jam pad, and we found out they had like an extra room basically in their jam pad. So we were, I was like, hey man, can we just, rent that out for
Christmas
the weekend?
break.
So we rented that out, and he had all those parts for Biagio. So that's when he basically showed Dalton all that. And we figured that song out.
Literally wrote a song
And then,
in a day.
and then we figured out maybe a third of the song on that same EP called This Is My Design. And then we didn't practice again for almost a year until we were able to maybe a couple of months before we were able to go in the studio with Timmy. And then they sat down and they finished the song This Is My Design, and they did Ashtray, and then we went and did that. But it just says one of those things where just our schedules together and not being able to actually, because we're kind of loud, especially if we are writing together and I'm there and I'm screaming. The second people just hear them playing, there's a little bit of oh, you know what? It's music, but it's not okay. The second you throw in a guy screaming, they're like, okay, fuck this shit. You know what I mean? So that's one of the. That's one of the.
Happening?
Yeah, exactly. So it just took us a while to actually be able to have a solidified place to do that. That was part of it.
So once my sister finished her internship or whatever, I said, okay, guys, I've done my part. I'm moving to Denton. So I moved to Denton to be closer to Dalton. Jordan was actually planning on moving to Denton shortly thereafter. COVID hit, whatever.
Yeah.
But
actually,
what was
we
it?
planned to finish the album together instead of writing separately.
We did.
We were gonna only write like half the songs, then finish the other half and do vocals and all that stuff. But
Dalton,
that didn't happen.
when did we start writing the album? Like Unique
Before.
New York was the
before.
first one.
It was before.
No, it was before. But what was it?
before
November
quarantine.
or was it December?
It was in that area.
Okay, let's just say November. November is when we started writing this album. But because of me and Dalton being so close to, like, in proximity,
And with love.
and with love, we fucking, we would get together like 3, sometimes even 4 times a week. Like, don't get me wrong, there's a few weeks, it'd only be once. We fucking went 3 weeks without at one point. Like, when we could, though, we were getting together 3 to 4 times a week and just fucking laying down what we could. Like, yeah, we're fucking hammering beers, and sometimes, like, there's a whole, like, I think we wrote like a minute and 15 seconds one time, and then, which is an okay portion of a song. It's pretty.
It's like half of one of our
Yeah,
songs.
yeah. It's like half of one of our songs, and we fucking finish it, and we come back the next practice. And the first, I don't know if we were hammered the first time or not, whatever.
That's not 100% true. We still use that. We just sped it up.
But I thought there was another one.
No,
I don't
we
fucking know.
No, there was something that y'all wrote that it was near the end.
That's what I'm saying.
We got delayed.
We trashed something,
And there was
bro.
some stuff near the end that I think
Yeah,
that
we
they
trashed
worked
something
on
before
that
Coco.
they had,
That's what I'm talking about.
went
That's what I'm talking
practiced and
about.
actually worked on new music.
Right.
And
Okay.
It's
Okay.
not gonna happen. We're just gonna-
Anyways, we felt like at one point, like, we wrote something and we're like, it's not good enough, so we're done with it.
But
Dalton-
Imhotep, like the last actual, not the outro, but the last like full band song.
11th song.
Like, the only reason that song exists is because of COVID, because we were supposed to go to the studio, but it got pushed back. So me and him were like, well, I guess we got time. We can write another song. So you can thank COVID for Imhotep, I guess.
By the way, sorry
COVID.
if we keep talking over top of each other. We're trying not to, but at the same time, we each have our own perspective, so it is what it is.
Sometimes you're telling stories that aren't true.
your opinion.
I was literally talking while you did that, dude. Just literally talking.
That's my point. That's my point.
So, what's the reception for the new album been like so far?
The reception, well, we've only had those 2 songs that have been released.
Yeah.
You Got Red on You, and then The Granny Killer. So, I think we're all on the same page. Neither one of those songs are our favorite songs. We actually purposely didn't release our favorite songs because we're okay. So we're all super into movies, super into like thematic, like just TV shows and movies and shit. So I know I was about to say shut up. So God damn it. So
Symbology.
God, just get your point across, bro.
Symbology. So no, we're super into that, and okay, so when I'm there's a trailer for a movie, like you see the trailer and the best parts of the movie are in the trailer. Like it gives away too much, like stuff like that. Like I think that was I don't think that was in like our thought process. It came to me later on that makes sense, but we didn't want to give away our best shit. Like for this album, like, and don't get me wrong, we're going to do videos for what is our actual favorite stuff in the future. But to start it off as the single, we put out something that we thought was super solid. And then for the music video, again, something that we thought was solid, but not our favorite. We kind of actually had a little bit of a disagreement about which video should be the performance video, the first music video, which was only performance. And yeah, me and Dalton really loved the 11th track, Imhotep. You've heard it. And then Jordan also loved the very first track. But with our band, we do not like, 2 outvotes 1. No, we need to agree on something. So we agreed on something, and it came out to Granny Killer, which we also really like, but by no means is it any of our favorite songs.
Now, to his credit, Granny Killer was honestly one of my least favorite songs on the album.
Until he. Oh,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
but once he put vocals on it, like it made that song. It really did.
Yeah, like what I was saying about the whole studio thing. Like it was nice hearing certain songs because we've been playing them for so long, so it kind of gets tiresome. Like even with "You've Got Red on You," like I think structurally it's one of our best songs, but it's also the second song we wrote. So we've just played it so many times and heard it so many times where you just kind of like it just loses that spark because you're just so used to it.
Absolutely.
But Granny Killer, he definitely added an element that just like made it fresh and just kind of, I don't know, solidified certain dynamics. Like, because that's really the main reason I wasn't a huge fan of the song, just the way it flows. Wasn't the biggest fan, and it's still a good song. Like, I don't dislike any of our songs, but if I were to do like a hierarchy, it'd be lower. But he elevated it for sure. He solidified certain things.
That happened with a few of the songs. Kind of what you were saying earlier is like they didn't get to hear exactly what I was doing and how I was screaming it because I do a lot of different kinds of vocals. So it's like I can literally tell them, like, oh, I'm doing this line over this part. And they're going to be like, yeah, we don't know how you're doing it. You know what I mean? So there's a kind of a little kid moment in the studio with me a lot of the time where I'd be like, okay, I get to show them what I'm doing in this part. And then like I remember like actually my favorite part to show them, they weren't even in the studio. They were like, oh, you're done with it? I was like, it's a 10-second part. Like, yeah, I'm done with it. But no, it's fun doing all that stuff.
I lost my
and here we go. What's next?
No, I fucking had something, bro. I was reading EXPO or whatever his name's name. BPXO. I started reading shit. And
he just broke his
phone. I lost my train of fucking thought. Dude, BPXO, I appreciate all your comments, and it's fucking making me lose myself, brother. Anyways, I know you got questions for us, Chris.
Oh, actually, it's about all I had. Did y'all have anything else y'all wanted to add?
Oh, I was honestly curious because you listened to all the songs. I was just curious to see what your favorite one was.
Let us know, dude. What's your favorite one?
Because it's just always interesting. Like,
I gotta look at the names real quick.
How many
times? The one that always like sticks in my head is the multiple MIGs. I love the I guess you call the drunk Elvis vocals, and it's like one of the ones that really comes out.
That's literally what we said whenever he did. Because he showed us the vocals at practice, and then the very first time he did it, I was like, I don't know, and he did it again, and I was like, I fucking love it.
Okay, so basically, this is how it is. I listen to bands like Daughters and then like Co-Leader who kind of do like that talking like vocal thing, and I didn't really intend to do that in the band. It literally was one of those things where like we had, I think, 3 practices for the whole actual album where I came in and would like practice some of what I was doing for some of the songs. And that's why they didn't hear everything I was doing. And for that song, I literally was not joking because it was a line I had in the song, but it was like one of those things where I was kind of just like doing something that in a weird way I knew they were going to be like, yeah, you're never going to do that in the song. You know what I mean? And I just like did it, and Ben was like, no, that fit great. And we had
I loved it.
We filmed a lot of our practices.
Not the first time, but second time.
So we film it, and so we can kind of hear back a little bit of what's happening. So like we heard it, and it was kind of my door in to kind of do some of that stuff. And then we kind of put it a little bit more of that stuff in a few other songs like later on. But
yeah, it's only in like 4 or 5 of them, maybe.
Yeah, Abbott, Miggs, and it's more singy, but Somerset.
Well, it's funny with
at least 3. I think
Abbott,
there might be some other little things, but I can't.
He sent me that text like he was saying earlier about how he kind of like gave us just general themes to write about, and one of them was about drinking, and this was like early quarantine. Which I was drinking a lot, you know what I'm saying? Just because I didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, I could do that, man. And I'm typically not a lyricist, so it was very strange for me, but I actually had a good time because I was just kind of drunk, and I was like, oh, I can't do this.
All right.
And I like thought of 1 or 2 lines, and it like worked. But there's one specific spot in that song where I'm like, I didn't even write anything for you. I just wanted to be drunk rambling because the song's about being drunk. In the middle of the song, I just kind of see in my head like, oh, this is the moment of the song where like you're like you almost like called out for help and it wasn't met, so you're just like hitting rock bottom. And then he wrote some shit, and I was like, yeah, dude, I'd definitely fuck with that.
I got drunk to write it, but I kind of had an idea rhythmically of what I was gonna do, which is funny because he was like, they had ideas of what I might do in that part, and they might add extra vocals that he might do to it, just to fill in the spot.
We changed our minds.
But then they actually heard what I did in the studio for the first time, and were like, and I remember there's like in the part where I'm doing the talking vocals, there's like a line or two of talking vocals, and then he does like a kind of fill, and then there's like the rest of the part. And I remember I'm not gonna cover up him doing that fill. And I think he even just was like, oh, like what you do is perfect because you fill in this gap and you fill in those gaps and everything else fills in everything else with the music and so it's just one of those things where it flowed really well and it's balanced and it just like it works with the part very well, especially even just like the weird like coughs that I threw in and kind of like hiccups, which are actually like slightly planned, but it adds a weird thing with the timing. So
it's
you
a nice
timing.
And
I'm doing
nice
it's almost like adding an extra line without putting a line there. You know what I mean?
It's a pickup.
That's pretty dope, man. Holy shit. So BPXO says, dudes, what do you think about bands like Me Without You who have spent their entire career self-funding records and living in a van to finally this year hang up the name and kind of move on?
I didn't fucking know that they moved on. Wait a fucking second. Did they fucking move on? They're done?
They did a tour.
Sister.
That was a brother sister. No, they did a tour and they played brother sister and some other
Dalton's
stuff.
Favorite Pornhub shit.
And stop.
Too much.
But,
sorry, guys. I apologize.
He has to put step. Brother, sister.
Steps.
That's a video promo, by the way, just that little clip.
So the Dalton likes brother sister porn. It sucks. It sucks because there's bands like Me Without You who we've listened to from like so early on. I'm pretty sure that this is Joe. I'm pretty sure that this BPX person is actually our really good friend Coach.
Dude, he better not be.
I think he actually got an account just for this podcast, and I bet that he's the one asking questions throughout to Joe. He actually helped out with Migs and writing those.
You kind of killed my vibe, dude. I didn't know they hung it up. I love you.
They'll probably come back. I swear that they're gonna come back and do a tour at some point. So, but they hung it up in the sense of they're not gonna put out the album.
So
but Dillinger did that, and some other bands where it's just like it sucks because Chariot. Like we actually went to the Chariot farewell tour. And, that shit was fucking awesome. Like I was literally me and Coach. We were literally sitting on the stage because there were so many people pushing that there was a group of like the people that were in the front row for all the other bands that got pushed on stage, and we literally were just like in between the monitors and stuff like that. Like and for like most of the show, it was a great show, but it's just like it is sad to like see a band that you like look up to in so many ways and be like, yeah, I never get to see them live, or I only got to see them once, or something like that.
I never saw them, and I love them.
I never saw them either. Yeah, and it's just like one of those things. It sucks, but I think that there are new bands, especially with what Christian from Mathcore and Dark Trail has been doing with the community, especially in times like this with the pandemic, where I think that it has helped to branch new bands out that other people like. And so I do see the revolving door of like kind of the old bands throwing in their towel in a respectful way, but then the new bands are coming in, which is pretty cool.
Question for you then. Question for Jordan here then. Okay, because he said, how do you feel about bands like Me Without You who have spent their entire career self-funding records and living in a band? Okay, so
that's what we're talking about.
No, I know, but okay, there's a side off question to this because what do I think about that? I think that that's that they did an awesome thing and they decided to call it quits. Okay, so with what you just said though, because me personally, right? Like I'm just throwing out a random fucking opinion. So bands throwing in the towel, right? I have found in a lot of awesome bands that I'm fucking super drawn into lately. Dead Kiwis, End, Fond Limbs, but I can't find another Dillinger. And the fact that they fucking threw in
have talked about
right. They threw in that towel, and don't get me wrong, I understand you've been doing it for so long. I understand that you want to throw in the towel. I understand that.
And what's just take care of chickens and goats?
It's over for you. No, I get it. Yeah, his fucking rescue sanctuary. No, I get it. But at the same time, like who does it for me like Dillinger does.
No, that's actually something we were talking about earlier because you had the question of like, what's your favorite album? And it sucks because there's a lot of albums that were supposed to come out this year, like Corey Taylor's solo album, which I honestly was hoping that there'd randomly be some cool songs on. Turns out there's not. But it's just like there's certain things where like there definitely is music that came out this year that I like, but just like when I couldn't say that there was an album that I'm just like, holy fuck, like I can't stop listening to this whole entire fucking album. Like, you know what I mean? And it does suck because there are a lot of those bands don't exist. Like even 68, like I like their first album and a little bit of their second album, but they put out that EP and I mean, I still respect them and shit, but it doesn't fulfill what the Chariot fulfills for me and stuff like that. So it does suck because I am hungry for that. Like Umber Fatai actually is the other band. I totally was going to say that earlier and I forgot. But they're the only other band that's put something out that I was like, oh, this is amazing. It's all these different people from all these bands and it's like fucking badass, but it's really hard to find that sometimes because we are picky and there's some cool bands that get put on Mathcore Index that are cool in retrospect, but to listen to the whole album and get everything I want from one of those bands, it's not going to be Dillinger or Converge, you know what I mean?
Yeah, you've invested so much more time in like Dillinger and Converge and stuff like that. You feel more connected to the band.
Well, yeah, and I feel bad too because I feel like sometimes I'm too picky and I should just fucking listen to something because a lot of the time I'm like that, even with bands that I like that I'm like, oh, I love all their other albums. They put a new one, I'm like, I don't like this, and then a month later I'm like, okay, I love it. I didn't realize I loved it after I listened to it 5 times, but you know, so I should definitely give more bands chances. But
I was just gonna say DPXO. We do not take for granted that Converge and Every Time I Die are still playing. Just as a heads up,
Well,
that's our shit.
Yeah,
We don't fucking take that shit for granted. Fucking love that shit. I'll be there every time.
Oh yeah.
In Texas or wherever.
Sure, I'll go to Oklahoma.
Shit, if I fucking can.
Get in the van. We'll set up a tent.
Get in the van, man.
Alrighty, so do you guys have anything else that you all want to say?
Man, just check out the album. Like, even if you don't know who we are and you don't like this kind of music, you just did it for fun. Like, just check it out. Like, listen to the whole thing. And if you hate it, let us know. If you love it, let us know.
Legitimately, it's not for everybody.
Like, if you think, hey, bro, everything you do on this level sucks and everything you do on this level is good, tell us what the good is. Maybe we'll make you a song for you and we'll make a good song.
And tell us what you hate too, and then maybe we probably won't pay attention. Too. Whatever.
BPXO says if you hate it the first time, try it again later.
Yeah, man. Sometimes you might just be in a bad mood. Like,
dude, there's movies and TV shows that are like that. The first time you watch it,
I'm just curious. Are you a big movie guy?
Yeah, man. Clockwork Orange, man.
All of our titles are movie references. Did you get any of them?
Oh shit, that's right.
Well, I've been looking at the master tracks, and I think some of the songs are like cut off.
Some of them
I noticed that You've Got Red on You. Like, definitely.
So Migs is.
Hold on.
You gotta go in
no. He said You Got Red on You. I want to know what You Got Red on You is.
Oh my god.
Oh, dude, you sounded so sure. So, each song is from a movie or a TV show, including the album name. So. Okay.
Which actually, the album name and the song name are from the same genre.
So we'll just give away like 3 or 4. So You Got Red on You. That's Shaun of the Dead. Remember, he fucking has the ink pen in his fucking pocket, and it like the ink gets on his shirt.
Yeah.
And people multiple times tell him You got red on you, and at the very end, he has blood all over him, and she says, "You've got red on you." That's where that comes from, especially because the lyrics are zombie based. They're about zombies.
I really wanted the name from 28 Days Later because that's like, in my opinion, one of the best zombie
dude,
movies.
one of the fucking
But
best.
it was hard to find
We're fucking
something concise.
very much into fucking movies.
Because with the way because we'll even find a name that we're like, oh, that's cool, but no one is ever gonna like know what the fuck we're talking about if we like use this one little line from a movie that's random. You know what I mean?
Speaking of which, Multiple Migs, the one you were talking about earlier,
that's the cellmate next to Hannibal Lecter, and that throws the cum on Starling.
In Silence
and he
of the
was
Lambs.
Migs or multiple Migs, which is another reason why we use that, because I actually watched it and I was like, man, that's such a good name, because we actually like names that are in movies too, because that's like just the song is the name, you know what I mean?
One of my favorite movies, it's called Hesher. It's Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and he's like this metalhead who's kind of like this weird like Buddhist monk, but it's like fucking like decrypted inside of a metal. I know that that's not really what it's going for, but that's how I look at it. Anyways, it's fucking Joseph Gordon-Levitt as a metalhead. And
shout out to Hesher, dude.
Shout out to Hesher. Check that shit out. And he's talking about this woman who would rape and kill grandmothers, and he like I'm not gonna go into detail. I don't want to get us kicked off Twitch. Anyways, so the granny killer is the idea behind that song, because that's a line spoken in the movie.
He kills grandmas.
Kills grandmas, yeah. And then one more. Give him another one. Somerset. Or Unique New York.
Oh, I feel like those are easy.
Classic.
I guess
you can do Wake Up.
Wake Up Joe, It's a Beautiful Day, which is like the closer. That's like the more like haunting, kind of like Silent Hill-esque like closer. That's from I Was Never Really. Is it? No, it's
You
not.
Were Never Really
You were
Here.
never really here. I know I was saying that wrong.
Fucking,
but with Joaquin Phoenix, where it's kind of like a Taxi Driver-esque kind of movie. If you've ever seen Taxi Driver,
it's an Amazon Prime original movie.
Oh,
jeez, okay.
We're trying to get fucking
pay us. But I actually love The Boys and
The
Jack
Boys.
Ryan. Like, come on, like, give me some money.
Hey, The Boys is dope, though.
But,
New season
shout out
finale.
Boys.
But it was a movie that we actually all watched separately that we all really liked, and it's a line that's said at the end of the movie, and like the scene that's even said that's shown like right before that is just like it's kind of like a weird twist and cool stuff, but
shut up. Why'd you say the word?
it's just something that's said. It's just something that's said
twist,
like
bro.
After
I think we're done
that
here.
just like kind of gives you like clarity in the movie in a weird way. So it's just like a cool thing that's like it's at the end of a movie. It's the end of our album, like.
And we have a friend named Joe. We like to tell him it's a beautiful day.
And he is so happy and thinks it's all about him in the sense of like, yeah, they didn't do it because of me. It's not because of the movie. Like, you know, it's funny though.
All right, sorry
Anyways,
for talking your ear off.
Yeah, no. So, dude, your questions and BPXO, great questions as well.
Dude, yeah, BPXO. Thank you so much for
Dude, yeah, no, appreciate that, brother. Also, I'm not the guy you think you thought I am. I'm another guy. Oh shit!
Hey man, even better.
I think we need to get out of here, man. I'm not afraid for my safety.
So be sure to check out Memory Palace, debut album from the God Awful Truth. Get CDs from Dark Trail Records, darktrailrecords.bandcamp.com. Are you guys selling CDs too? I didn't see them on your Bandcamp.
So we're getting them shipped to us. We'll have some, but we might not sell them
online. It might be more like hand to hand, like personal stuff
at live shows.
Like
we might save those for live shows. We're debating about it.
Okay, you guys got like shirts and stuff y'all are selling now?
Well, actually, so we do have shirts that are not listed on our Bandcamp. I'm gonna list them very shortly, but we also have shorts that we just ordered that should be to us
in the next
a week or two after the album release. So yeah, like a month from now, and so those will also be listed on Bandcamp.
What's your Bandcamp URL?
So it's just the godawfultruth.bandcamp.com.
Okay, sweet.
Just straight up the name .bandcamp.com.
And you guys are on Facebook and Twitter, or not? No, I don't know.
Not
about
Twitter. Not
Instagram.
Twitter.
Instagram.
We
Instagram.
don't.
I was trying to tag you
Instagram.
guys on Twitter and I couldn't find it.
We don't know shit about
No,
Twitter.
we should. We'll probably actually get a Twitter soon and just connect it to everything. Because
Dog.
that's kind of what we do.
Twitter
with our
sucks, man. It's so hard to grow on Twitter, man. I've been doing it lately. It sucks. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Dude, I
Instagram
literally
and
just
Facebook's where it's at.
This guy over here.
I just got rid of my flip phone. Like I'm new to all of this shit.
Yeah, he never had social media until Instagram, which is cool because now we can all communicate on Instagram, like with Christian, ourselves, anybody that we need to do group chats and stuff. But yeah, he's
I'm still
He's a caveman coming into the sunlight.
he's still
he's-
coming out of the 90s, bro.
he's
Like,
without a
like
doubt
early
a
2000s.
Neanderthal.
I wish you could have saw my hair before I cut it, dude. I was straight up a caveman.
He was. We used to call him Caveman Trash Can. Anyways.
Yeah.
So
It's all
as far
you
as I am, drop my channel, follow so you always know when I go live. Find me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. YouTube, folks, if you like this video, please drop a like, tickle the notification bell, and please subscribe. Check out my music, The Sound That Ends Creation. Sound That Ends Creation. My 5th album, Memes, Dreams, and Flying Machines, is out now. Also through Dark Trail. I've got zip hoodies for pre-order now. You can only get 2XL and 3XL this weekend. On Monday, that option's going to go away. It's going to be small through large. Next week's guest is Yashira. Join us at twitch.tv/thecassetenscreation at 7 p.m. Central, 8 Eastern, 5 Pacific for my live interview with them. Thanks for being here, guys. Hope you all had a good time.
Hey, thank you, brother. I
Last,
appreciate it.
thank you.
And thank you guys for watching and listening.
I